If we continue to do things the way we've been doing them, we'll continue to get the same results. How do we break free from our comfortable patterns and take our lives to the next level? That's what we'll be learning out from Parshat Devarim. Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment if you can, and click the bell to get notified when we go live on YouTube so that you can meditate and learn along with us. And now on with the teaching. There's a story, you may have heard it, of a scorpion, a traveling scorpion. And he comes to the bank of a river and he needs to get across, but he can't get across. Scorpions don't swim. So he sees a fox come along, and the fox is able to swim across the river. And he says, "Hey, Mr. Fox, can you let me climb on your back and we'll cross the river together?" And the fox says, "Are you kidding me? You're a scorpion. You'll sting me." And the scorpion says, "No, I won't do that. That's crazy. If I were to do that, we would both drown. We'd both die. Why would I do such a thing?" So the fox thinks about it a little bit and says, "Okay, you're right. I'll do a mitzvah. I'll let you come across." So the scorpion climbs on his back, and the fox starts out swimming across the river, and the scorpion just can't help itself, and it stings the fox. And as the poison seeps into the fox, he says, "Why did you do that? Now we're both going to drown." And the scorpion said, "I couldn't help it. It's my nature." So this is an interesting story. What is this story telling us? It sounds kind of pessimistic, because all of these spiritual stories, the whole purpose of them is to tell something about ourselves, not to help us learn about scorpions and foxes. And so I think the meaning here is that it's reminding us how powerful our conditioning can be. Is our nature like the scorpion? Is it such that we can't possibly change our nature and we're going to do something even if it's destructive to ourselves? No, it's not. We have, in a sense, a kind of scorpion nature, but we can transcend that scorpion nature if we're willing to wake up, if we're able to wake up. So what does that mean, to wake up? It means that we're not stuck in our scorpion identity. It means that we're able to see it for what it is, as opposed to being possessed by it, whatever that is we're talking about, whatever unhelpful patterns of thought, patterns of speech, patterns of action, whatever unhelpful patterns seem to be inevitable or seem to be something that we can't change. If we're able to see it and recognize that we are not trapped by it, that we're bigger than it, then there is the possibility of transcending it, of waking up out of it, and of not being controlled by, possessed by any conditioned patterns, what we might call our scorpion nature, or we might call the Yetzer Hara if we're using Jewish language. But it can be challenging because we like comfort. And our patterns that we're used to, even if they're not helpful to us, are comfortable to us. And the more comfortable we get with them, the more difficult and less likely it is that we can wake up out of them and transcend them and transform them. We also don't like pain. And so getting out of our pattern may not be painful, but we fear that it's going to be painful. Or we fear that it's going to be much more painful than it actually is. If you've experienced transcending some kind of laziness or negative pattern and getting into a new and better way of being for yourself, you may have experienced that there is a little bit of pain involved with that. But it's a good pain. It's a pain that's worth it. So the reminder here is, can we value our freedom more than we value our comfort? Can we wake up to recognize that to be free of that which is unhelpful but comfortable is a lot better than being comfortable? That's the question. So this is a good place to reflect, actually. ask yourself the question, what comfortable patterns, what comfortable ways of being are holding you back? And how is life talking to you to try to get a new perspective through? You know, life whispers to us, or it starts out whispering to us anyway. And then in many circumstances, the words get louder and louder. And yet our ability to hear them gets less and less. The words get louder and louder, but our faith in ourselves to be able to heed those words gets less and less and less. So that's the question. Can we turn around from our conditioned patterns and say, wait a minute, what is life trying to tell me? Can I be attentive to it? There's a hint in the Parsha. Eile hadvarim asher diber Moshe el kol Yisrael. These are the words that Moses spoke to all Israel. Eile hadvarim. These are the words. So, in the Parsha, Moses speaks his final words to the children of Israel before he dies. They too are standing by a river, like the scorpion, preparing to cross. And he reminds them of their journeys up to that point. He begins by recounting the highest moment when they stood at Mount Sinai and received the revelation. And yet, as sublime as Sinai was, Moses reminds them of God's command not to stay there. Rav lachem shevet bahar hazeh. It's too much for you already to still be dwelling by this mountain. In other words, don't be the scorpion. Life is change. Don't resist. The words of God are urging you to move on, to free yourself from the comfortable. The world is turning. You must turn with it. You must turn with it. Penu us'u lachem. Turn and journey for yourselves. The journey is not to fulfill someone's expectation of you. The journey is for yourself, meaning it is for your own well-being that you must not cling to comfort and to the avoidance of pain. Uva'u har ha'emori. Come to the mountain of the Amorites. So what is this really saying on the metaphorical level? What are the Amorites? The tribe of the Amorites, Emori, has the same letters as the verb to speak, Aleph, Mem, Resh. The hint here is that you must leave the mountain where you hear the word of God so that you can come to a new mountain where there will be new words. Don't cling to the old words. This is one of the greatest obstacles and traps of spiritual practice, is that we have a wonderful experience and then we cling to the memory of that experience instead of coming to the moment fresh, instead of coming anew. We say, I felt so connected. I felt so free. I felt so on fire with prayer, or whatever it is. My heart was so open. As opposed to, what's my heart doing right now? What does this moment feel like? Where is my mind going now? Be the attention to what is present. Come to a new mountain. Ba'arava, in the plain. So what is the plain? Sometimes the new words, that is the new hearing of the moment, will not be the ecstasy of a mountain experience. There will also be the arava, the plain, the daily work of life, a mixture, erev, of many ordinary experiences. The hint here is the word arava, which means plain, has the same root as erev, which means mixture. It's like the daily grind of life. But it doesn't have to be a grind if we bring our presence to it. But it is not a mountain experience. Uvashfela, in the lowland. So then there is the shefela, the lowland, times of sadness, of tragedy, of failure, of loss, which is auspicious to talk about right now in these 9 days of the commemoration of tragedy and failure and loss. But all of this is part of God's speech to us. These times are medicine for the distortions of ego. Uvanegev, in the desert, times when your life and work don't seem to be yielding anything good. But we must persevere through these stretches. These times train us to stay focused and true to our path. Uvchof hayam, and on the seacoast. So then there's the seacoast, like when the children of Israel stood at the Sea of Reeds with the Egyptian army behind them. These are the times when our path involves risk, when we're tempted to fear and despair. This is training for the supreme quality of trust, to take that leap into the unknown. Ad hanahar hagadol, as far as the great river. The great river is at the end of the journey, because if you can learn to work with life in all of its manifestations, you will see. Life itself is a great river. God incarnates as your mind and your body for just a brief time to take a little journey on this great river. If we wish to flow with it, we need to be attentive to what life is telling us, to the words God is speaking to us. This is the path of the letter SHIN, the letter of Shema, of deep listening. It is also the letter of fire, the fire of attention, the fire of presence. Shalom, I hope you've enjoyed this Torah of Awakening. If you'd like to go deeper with the letter SHIN, you can do the SHIN guided meditation. I'll link that video in the description box. And if you've enjoyed, I'd be so grateful if you would give this video a like, leave a comment if you can. I'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get notified when we go live on YouTube. And when you're ready to go deeper, head on over to TorahofAwakening.com. You can find me there and send me a message if you have any questions. We have classes for both children and adults, and a membership where we gather on Zoom 5 days a week for meditation and learning. Until next time, all blessings.